What's up, badass nerds? I have no makeup on, my hair's a mess, but I'm bored, so I figured why not spill my deepest, darkest secrets to a camera and then put them on the internet for everyone to see. That's just where my mind went. Anyway, I realized I haven't done an effed up story in a while, and I realized that's because I don't have a lot of tame effed up stories. All these people on the internet, like the Gabby Show and I don't know, Sanders, have these stories where in the end it's like, ha ha ha, everything's fine and funny and like jokes on the other person. My stories are more like I was a whore or I was a drunk or a druggie. So, by the title, you probably already know what this story entails, me being a whore. That's fine, because I was young. I'm 30 now, and I have a basketball game tomorrow. Shout out to Jenna Marbles. So this is the story of when I had an affair with my very good friend's cousin's fiance. Here it goes. So I was about 19 years old, and I was working at Hess, and changing everyone's names, obviously, because the story gets really, really messed up. So, yeah, across the street, there's Dunkin' Donuts where my two good friends worked. One of them was my ex-fiance. We hadn't gotten together yet. And this was in his phase where he was like bi or bi-gay. He didn't really know. And there was a new worker at Dunkin' Donuts. And like me and my other friend, let's call her Joanna. Me and Joanna went to pick up our friend, my ex-fiance. Let's call him Derek. Yes. We went to pick up Derek, and there was a new worker, and he introduced us to him. He was good looking. He was muscular. He was out of my league, which most men that I hooked up with were, which I don't understand, but it is what it is. He was a mulatto guy who looked like a white guy, which doesn't really pertain to the story at all. But it's just an interesting fact. So we met him, and like I barely said anything. I kind of like hung back, and Joanna was talking to him, and Derek and Joanna were talking to him, and I kind of was just like on my phone, and like I probably introduced myself, and that's about it. And I knew he had a girlfriend. Like Derek told us that he had a girlfriend. He also told us that this new coworker, let's call him BJ, which is ironic because Derek told us that he had given BJ in the bathroom that night or a couple nights before, and we were like, oh, okay. Like, it was normal behavior for Derek, so we were just like, whatever. Derek had given him my number, and I don't know, he like called me, and I was like, what's up? And he was like, yo, I heard like you were down to fuck or whatever. And I was like, well, you have a girlfriend, so. And he was like, well, I like to have my cake and eat it too. And I was just like, whatever, like, sorry. And he was just like, word, like, really? And I was just like, yeah, sorry. And then we started like communicating through Derek, and I learned that his girlfriend, who he had met in prison, like he had been in prison because he almost beat a guy to death, and he burned down his house because the guy sexually assaulted his girlfriend, which, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I understand, like, protecting what you need to protect or whatever. And so he had been in prison for arson, and his girlfriend met him there, and I know that when they were together, she conceived and had a child with someone else while they were supposed to be together. So I was like, screw this girl, then. Like, she cheated on him, I'll help him cheat on her. Derek said that we could use his driveway and like have sex in the back of my car in his driveway, which was also his mother's driveway and his family's driveway. And looking back now, I'm like, that was super weird, but at 19, I was just like, whatever. The weirdest thing is, the night that I was supposed to pick them up from work and bring them home, the two of them, Derek and BJ, I hung out with my friend. She was my really good friend. We had known each other since like second grade or something. And we were just hanging out, and it was totally random. Like, I did not see this coming. Plot twist. So I'm telling her about like what I have to do. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go bring Derek home from work, and then he said I could have sex with this guy in his parking lot in my car. And she was like, is this person's name BJ? And I was like, yes. And she was like, then no the fuck you're not. And I was like, what? She's like, that's my cousin's fiance. And I was like, oh, my bad. And I'd love to tell you that the story ends there. That I did my duty, took Derek and BJ both home, and that was that. And nothing happened. But again, I was 19. I didn't make the best decisions ever. And I still had this feeling like she screwed him over, so why shouldn't he screw her over? And so it happened. I dropped Eric off, and then we sat in my car in his driveway, and it was really awkward at first because I think he was the first guy to ever go down on me. And I kept trying to like cover up my fat with like what I was wearing. And he was like, don't worry, like, I like every bit of a woman. And he was like, he certainly like kissed my fat. And I was like, that's cool. And so we did it. We had sex. And like, it became sort of a thing. I admitted to my sort of boyfriend that I had slept with someone else, and he did not take it well. Anyway, that was like a thing. So, I remember the first time I slept with BJ. He was like, "How many people have you slept with?" And I was like, 2. And I was 19, so like, I thought that was a normal number. He was like, only 2? And I was like, I did other stuff with other people. That counts. Like, he made me feel like embarrassed for not being sluttier. But whatever. The second time we got together, here's where it got scary. We just finished, we parked in his parking lot, like, of the building he lived in, the apartment complex he lived in. We parked, like, on the other side of the building, like, where it was dark, and, like, his apartment with his fiance was on the other side of the building, so, like, we never got caught. But we just finished, like, our first round of that night. He was feeling particularly frisky, I guess, because we ended up doing it 3 times that night in my car. I guess when you're in prison, like, not even that. He was just a sex addict, like, for real, like, real talk sex addict. And, so after the first, like, round, or whatever you want to call it, he starts talking, and that's where everything goes to shit. Because we didn't really talk that much at all. I didn't really know that much about him. I didn't, I knew what he had been in prison for and whatever, but I didn't know what his life was like before he was in prison and all. Like, he worked at Dunkin' Donuts, so I didn't think he was like this big time drug dealer before, which apparently he was. And I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah, we didn't let anyone get away with not paying us. And he told me this about this particular instance in which, this is gonna get real graphic, dudes. It's bad. So just know that before you continue watching. So, this particular instance, there was this girl who, I guess, went to them looking for crack. I believe it was crack. And she had brought her 4 or 5-year-old daughter along with her to go get her crack from them. So, I guess she hadn't paid them, and she was looking for more crack, and so they decided to teach her a lesson. So they took her daughter into a different room and like let her watch TV and had toys for her, whatever, something to distract her. And they brought in their 200-pound pit bull, and they oh god, I don't even want to say it. They made her get raped by the pit bull. And they made the pit bull rape her. So, I said it. So, he tells me this, and I start freaking out inside. Like, hardcore, like, oh my god, he's gonna murder me type freak out inside my body. And I said to him, dude, you're freaking me out right now. And he was like, I am. And I was like, yes. Like, do you not know what you just told me? And he was just like, oh, sorry. Like, whatever. As I said, we had done it 3 times that night. We ended up doing it 3 times that night. And after hearing his story, after we went first round, I can blame it on fear that I just did whatever he wanted afterward. But the next time that we did it, I can't blame it on anything else. And the last time that we did it, something weird happened. We were in the same parking lot, and it was just kind of awkward. We just did it, and we were both half naked, and his fiance calls him, and I'm just shut up. I just shut myself the hell up. And she was yelling about the cops were coming for somebody, and they literally did. We saw them because we were next to the road that came up into the apartment complex. And the cops came up the road, and we were like, oh shit, like what the fuck is going on? And he's just like, shut up. And I'm just like, okay, please don't rape me with a pit bull. And somebody was getting arrested. I don't remember who, but it was part of his fiance's family. I don't know what it was for, but it wasn't. It's probably for drugs, weed, probably, something like that. And she was just like, where are you? Like, you need to get back here. You need to get home. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And he was like, oh, I was just hanging out with Derek, and like, I'll be right there, like, whatever. So he hangs up the phone, looks at me, and I'm just like, so we put our clothes back on, and we're kind of like trying to hide in my car, because if I had just started it up randomly, that would have drew so much attention. And we just like hid in my car until the cops left. Finally, the cops left. He got out of my car. He was like, wait a few minutes after I leave before starting up your car so it doesn't look suspicious. Which, in retrospect, it probably looked suspicious either way. And, yeah, after that, I never saw him again because he went back to prison. He violated his probation. I don't remember how, but I didn't care because I had my little fling, and I was now terrified of this crazy psychopath, and I was just like, what? That's what it is. And me and my non-boyfriend ended up like not getting back together, but just continuing what we were doing, sleeping together. I think I actually slept with them both on the same day, one during the day and one at night. Oh, I'm such a whore. I was 19. Anyway, that's my effed up story of the time I had an affair with my good friend's cousin's fiance. And that wasn't the last time I saw him. The next time I saw him was even worse. Maybe you can imagine. Leave a like if you like this video. Don't judge me too harshly. Share it with your slutty friends if you want. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are subscribed, hit the bell notification so that you get notified every time I post. That's all I got. Keep being badass. Keep being nerdy. Much love and peace, y'all.